I'm reading this book, and like all I can say is this woman. I mean, I am blown away by her. Like, wow. And the fact that it was written by a male author, I'm blown away. We got to talk about this book. Hey, it's Vivian. Welcome back to my booktube channel. It's nice to see you. Today, I am talking about Two Nights in Lisbon by Chris Pavone. And holy moly, I loved this book. Loved it. We gotta talk. So, Two Nights in Lisbon was the book that we read for my in-person book club. We meet every month and talk about a different book every month. And we met last Saturday to talk about this book. And it was a good discussion. It was one of our best book club discussions. Everybody said so. So if I haven't, I know that I've mentioned this before, but my favorite book of all time is The Count of Monte Cristo. And oh my God, the main character, Ariel, in this book is giving off all kinds of Edmond Dante vibes, because this woman, wow, she is giving Edmund a run for his money when it comes to like serving revenge cold, right? Getting like all of these people who, not all of these people, like Edmund had what, 3 people. Ariel has one person who did her wrong, and she's like, karma, like you're gonna get yours and I'm gonna make sure that you get yours. But the way she does it is so like Edmond Dante's clever, right? So they never see it coming, right? And they never see it coming from her. They just know that their life is ruined. So this woman, like if Edmond Dante is the Count of Monte Cristo, Ariel is the queen. So the plot of this book, oh my God, it's so good. I'm going to read what I've got in my reading journal. So this is what I wrote, and there may be spoilers. Just, that's your warning. I don't know. So the plot, what's it about? All right, Ariel and her husband of maybe 4 months, 3 or 4 months. I can't remember how long they were married, but they go to Lisbon. John's got a business trip and he's bringing Ariel along. So Ariel wakes up, and like the second day they're there, the first day they're there for a day, and then they go to bed, and then they wake up in the morning, right? So Ariel wakes up and her husband isn't there, right? And she can't find him. And he's not returning messages. He has just disappeared, right? In Lisbon. She doesn't know where he is. She can't reach him, can't find him. He's gone, girl, but not Gone Girl. But the book is a little bit like Gone Girl, because like you don't know what's happening, and you don't know, right? So, okay, she wakes up, she can't find him. So she's worried. She goes to the police and they don't really help her. And she goes to the embassy then. And she talks to like everybody she can talk to, like the hotel people. She wants to see the surveillance. Like she's like basically put out the alert that her husband is nowhere to be found, right? So she sets in motion a whole series of events where the CIA starts investigating, because then at one point they do find out that John has been kidnapped, right? Like she gets a motorcycle drives up. She's walking down the street and a motorcycle like comes screeching up, and a guy in a black helmet sticks a phone in her hand and then speeds away, and the phone rings and she answers it, and like the kidnappers are demanding a 3 million euro ransom, right? So then it does come up that he has been kidnapped. So then the CIA is investigating the kidnapping, and then they start investigating like, why do the kidnappers think that John and Ariel have 3 million euro or have access to 3 million euro, right? Because who has 3 million euro just hanging around going, okay, like who has €1,000,000? Who has like 10,000 euro in the bank, right? So there's something going on, with John and or Ariel, that they somehow have access to money. Well, it turns out Ariel does have access to money because she used to be in this she used to be married to like a super rich dude. They're not married anymore because now she's married to John. And so she sort of has connections in that super rich world. And she has one connection in particular so she calls her ex-husband and says, can you give me 3 million euro? And he's like, no. And by the way, it's the 4th of July weekend. And so like banks are closed. Nobody's giving you 3 million euro. And she's like, well, we both know somebody who does have access because he has all of these offshore accounts in Europe and whatever places that don't care about the 4th of July. And her ex-husband is like, oh, you can't call him, like, blah, blah, blah. Well, she calls him. Of course she does, right? She needs 3 million euro. So anyway, let me keep reading. So the CIA is investigating John's kidnapping and why the kidnappers think Ariel has access to 3 million euro. Ariel gets the 3 million by blackmailing this guy from her past who is actually, he's like in the middle of confirmation hearings to become like the next vice president because the vice president died, so we need a new vice president. So he's in like the beginning of confirmation hearings for that. And so he's basically he's like a shoo-in. He's going to be confirmed. And then, he's going to be the vice president, which means he's probably going to be the next president. So she basically blackmails him and he agrees to give her the money. So, but now the CIA is like, what's going on? Right? Because you can't, the president cannot be blackmailed. That's like a national security issue, right? So they're doing all of this investigation and, all right, let me keep reading here, sorry. All right, so she gets the 3 million by blackmailing the guy, which sets off a whole national security alert, and the dude is outed as a, spoiler, the dude is outed as a rapist who is open to being compromised, and at the end of the day, destroys his career and his life, basically. So this is the story of how this woman destroys a man's life who did her wrong, like really wrong. And not just her, he did a lot of people really wrong and got away with it for all of these years. And she was finally like, no, not anymore. Something is going to change and I'm going to be the one to change it. So, but nobody knows that it was her because she had signed an NDA years ago and wasn't legally allowed to talk about it. But she's sort of like, you know what? This guy can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this, right? This guy, we can't let him get away with it, right? Somebody needs to do something, and that somebody is me. And the time is now. So here we go. Yeah, I love this woman. I love that she was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to make this happen where I don't break the law, right? I don't violate the terms of my NDA, right? Where I can do it so that I don't go to jail, basically. But if I have to go to jail, then fine, I'll go to jail for it. But she's like, I'm going to figure out how to do this so that I don't go to jail. And I'm going to figure out how to do it so that it's not coming from me, right? Because nobody's going to believe me. Nobody believed me before. Nobody's going to believe me now, right? Nobody's going to believe me if I just come out and start making these kinds of accusations, right? Saying what this guy did to me. Nobody's going to believe me. So I got to find a way to let people know that this dude is a shitty, shitty guy. And she figures it out and she does it. And this is the story. Okay, so you want to know what I learned about myself from this book? And this is not flattering, really. But, all right, Count of Monte Cristo, 2 Nights in Lisbon. I like revenge books. No, I like well-written revenge books where it's this kind of thing where the bad guy never sees it coming, but it comes and their life is ruined and they're like the sinners who never made it into Noah's Ark and the shit is raining down on them and it is the end of the world, right? And I get pleasure from those kinds of books. It really says something terrible about me, doesn't it? Well, okay. If it says something terrible about you too, if you're like me and you're like, yeah, Viv, those are good times. All right. So I know 2 books, right? The Count of Monte Cristo and now 2 Nights in Lisbon. Can you give me some other book recommendations in this like let's do karma kind of situation? I stick it in the comments. Do you have other revenge books that you recommend, right? I want to check them out. Thanks. Okay, so can we talk about Ariel for a minute? I love her. Like, that's not a secret. I've said it 100 times already. I love this woman. So here's why I love her. Excuse me. All right. She is smart. She's clever. She is creative, and she's just super strategic in problem solving. Like, she's a planner, she's a plotter, she thinks through everything. And I love that, right? She's like a real thinker. And I mean, gotta respect that, right? So I also love her because she is super independent and yet still connected to like her family and not friends so much, although she does have one employee that she is sort of friendly with. But yeah, so she's independent and she's just sort of all right, let's get on with it. Let's just do it kind of person, right? You don't get the sense that she's like a wallower. Is that a word? A wallower, someone who wallows. Is that a word? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like she's just not going to dwell on the past or on things that went wrong or bad things that happened to her or like who she used to be that maybe wasn't her best self. Like she's just not dwelling on any of that. She is moving forward, right? Like she's getting on with it. She's building the kind of life she wants to have and she's living that life, right? But then what I love is when she is confronted with a situation or an event where she's like, well, something's got to happen here and somebody's got to do something. I love that she is not the kind of person who's waiting for somebody else to come and do it or to come and help her. She's like, nobody is coming to save me. Like, at the end of the day, who says this? Mel Robbins? Brene Brown? I don't know who says this. Nobody's coming to save you. Like, nobody is coming. You have to save yourself. And that is Ariel. Like, that is definitely her mindset. Perfect example of this. She moves into this old house that, like, everything is old and broken down and has a really super scary basement and a boiler that, like, does it work? Does it not work? Like, is the water safe to drink? She doesn't know any of this stuff. And she's like, look, I could keep hiring people to come and fix things and come and do things for me, but I'm just going to learn how to do it myself. So, like, she hires people, but not to come and do it, like, not to come and fix her boiler, to come and show her how to do it, to teach her how to do, like, basic stuff, because she's like, I'm going to save myself. And I mean, you got to respect that, right? I love this character. I love her. Okay, so let's get to my favorite quotes from the book. I'm just going to give you four that I wrote down. Some of them because I thought they were, like, great life quotes, words to live by, but some of them because I just think they captured the essence of the book, as well as being just well said. All right, here we go. All right, first one. It's a good one. Somebody needed to do something about this. In fact, everybody needed to do something about this. She realized that whatever she was going to do ever, she needed to start doing it. If you have neither patience nor money, complicated old things are not sensible choices. These traits that we admire and envy, youth and beauty and privilege, these are not accomplishments. All right, those are 4 of my favorite quotes. What was your favorite quote? Let me know in the comments. I love quotes. All right, so final thoughts and ratings. Okay, I love this book. I've already said that 100 times. I loved it. I loved it because I never knew where it was going. I sort of knew at the beginning that it was like that the vice president guy there was something going on with that. Like, I knew that was going to be a part of it. I knew that was going to be something to the book, but I didn't know what. I had no idea that it was going to be like a serial rapist situation, national security, compromised leader, susceptible to blackmail situation kind of thing. I had no idea that it was all going to be a total setup, right? To bust him and, like, ruin his life. I said this before with the author, the story was so well plotted and put together, and he just, like, dripped out information that, like, you had the end. I'm not telling you the end, although I kind of want to tell you the end because I have questions about the end that I want to talk to somebody about. Well, I've already talked to my book club about it, but I'm curious. If you read it, tell me what you think about the end. But at the end, when it all, like, comes together, there's, like, a whole epilogue to the book that you're like, oh my God, this woman, like, that, if there's my quote for this book, it's got to be this woman, because I just was like, wow. Like, And to say this woman, you have to say, well, the man too, Chris Pavone, right? The author, great job. Like, drips it out, little information here, little information here, and then it all comes together and makes sense. And it's like, wow. So, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. There was only one little piece that didn't make sense to me, and that was with the son. So throughout the whole book, her teenage son is like a big deal, right? It's like her entire life revolves around this kid. But then at the end, like she sort of ships him off to boarding school. And so that seemed a little bit weird to me. That, like, I guess that was just kind of tidied up that little piece at the end, but it just seemed a little bit weird. Anyway, but everything else, yeah, love, 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 love. All right, so my ratings. I gave the book 5 stars, right? 5 stars as a whole. But then when I broke down here, quality of writing, 5 stars, excellent. Like I said, well plotted, characters were well written, like so the pacing, 5 stars, like it just, you did not want to stop reading it. I read it and I started it the night before when I went to bed and literally finished it the next day. It was, all right. Ease of reading, 5 stars. It was easy to read because you just, like, for me, it was easy to read. I will say some of the ladies in the book club, took them a minute to get used to the language and the writing. I think they said something about like the present tense, writing in the present tense, bothered them a little bit. Didn't bother me. I loved it. I was in from the beginning. And I didn't have any trouble with the flashbacks. There were some people that were like, oh, I got confused. Is this in Lisbon? Is this somewhere else? And honestly, I don't know how you could be confused about it because the stuff in Lisbon was so clearly so different than the flashback stuff. But yeah, so anyway, quality of writing, 5 stars. Pace, 5 stars. Plot development, 5 stars. Like if I could give 10 stars, I would give 10 stars for this. So well plotted. Characters, 5 stars. Enjoyability, 5 stars. Ease of reading, I said it, very easy for me, 5 stars. Beginning, 5 stars. Beginning of the book is like we're waking up in Lisbon and my husband's gone. Immediately, you're right in it, full of suspense, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, love it. Ending, 5 stars. Even with the weird boarding school thing. I like the ending. He sort of tied it all up, but then the way he ends it, there's still a question of like, what happens to these people next, right? And I like that in a book, right? I like it when there's a little bit of ambiguity at the end when you feel like their lives go on, right? Like that there's a question that you don't really know the answer to, right? Anyway, so yeah, 5 stars, 5 stars. So this guy has written not a bunch, 1, 2, 3, like 5 or 6 other books. And I think I'm going to check it out. So yeah, I think I am. Okay, so before we go, you know that every year I have my book brackets and I choose my favorite book of the year. And so the question is this a book of the year contender? And the answer is yes, 100%. Book of the year contender. This one is going in my January slot in the book bracket for sure. Now, you also know that every year I do the Figgy Awards, right? And this year I'm tracking 5 things. And at the end of the year, I will look at all my nominees and I will choose an award winner. So the categories that I am tracking this year are Best Main Character, Best Supporting Character, Best Meet Cute. What does that say? What does that say? Oh, oh my God. I couldn't read what that said. Okay, funniest scene, which could be like what's happening right now in this video, the funniest scene. And I'm tracking the best poem because, like I said before, I want to read more poetry this year. So I'm going to read more and then I'm going to choose my favorite poem. All right, so these are the Figgy Awards that I am tracking this year. And it's obviously not a poem, so it's not going to be nominated for best poem. Funniest scene, no nominations for this book. Best meet cute, no nominations for this cute. Although there is a scene in a flashback where Ariel is talking about when she and John met and they were dating before they got married. And I thought it was a really lovely scene. And at the end of it, she's like, what did she say? I wrote it down. She said, I could love this man. And then she pushes the idea aside, right? As you do sometimes when you're dating somebody and you're like, oh my God, I could totally love this person, but I'm not going to. So it's not a meet cute. So it doesn't really qualify, I don't think, but it is a nice scene. So no meet cute nominations for Two Nights in Lisbon. Best supporting character. Like I said, there were really well-written characters, but I didn't, there weren't any that like leapt out to me as being any that I was like, yeah, this is definitely, I'm nominating this for best supporting character. So no nominations. No best supporting character nominations for Two Nights in Lisbon, but best main character, Ariel, 100%. She is definitely going to be a nominee. She's a contender for the Figgy Award for best main character. If you're like, Vivian, what are you talking about? Right? Book brackets, Figgy Awards. All right, 2 things I want you to check out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this YouTube video that I made that walks you through my 2022 book brackets, where I choose my favorite fiction book of 2022. It's a quick video. It's not quick because there's 12 books and they battle it out, right? It's hard to get to the very, very favorite one, but have a look at that video and you will understand what I'm talking about when I say book bracket. And then for the Figgy Awards or the Your Last Name Awards, check out this blog post. It shows you how I did my Figgy Awards for 2022. The 2 categories that I had winners in were Best Supporting Character and Best Scene. So those were the 2 Figgies I gave out last year. Check out that blog post at www.thefigtreeboutique.com. Go to the blog, check out the blog post, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the nominee or the contender for, best main character. That's what I'm talking about. So check out both of those, the video and the blog post. I'll put the links in the description box too, so you'll have them. Don't worry. Okay, so if you're like, oh my God, Vivian, I totally want to do my own book bracket and I want to do my own Figgy Awards, although I guess it would be like the Your Last Name Awards or something like that. You can totally do this. It is super easy and super fun. Go to www.thefigtreeboutique.com and snag yourself one of my reading journals. It's got the book brackets in it for one for fiction and one for nonfiction, so you can choose both books of the year. And then it has got the Figgy Awards, although it's not the Figgies, right? It's whatever you want to call it whatever you want, awards. And it's got stickers, so you can choose whatever categories you want to track this year. It's really pretty cool. I mean, go to www.thefigtreeboutique.com and just check it out. Snag yourself one. It's very cool. Thanks for watching all the way to the very, very end. Oh my gosh. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that little bell. All right. Oh my gosh. Thanks for watching this video. 2 nights in Lisbon. All right. I'll see you next time.